Come over here for a second. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody doing this morning? Good morning, coffee talkers. Hello. Hello. Today is International Unicorn Day. For those of you who don't know, the national country animal in Scotland is the unicorn. Little trivia for you. Even though unicorns are not real, Scotland loves them so much they chose, like America's is the bald eagle, Scotland's is the unicorn. Who knew? Lauren, Elizabeth, I'm working on a podcast now. It just takes time to get it together. Just a shout out to all of the medical personnel, first responders, sanitation people, mail delivery, FedEx, UPS, supermarket workers, big store bulk shopping, stocking people, nurses, administrators, admissions, all of you who are still working every day. Thank you so much for what you're doing so that so many of us can do our part by basically staying home and doing nothing and getting gray. So this morning, hi, William. This morning, I was really confused about what I was going to talk about. And, coffee talk this morning. I just wasn't really sure what I was feeling and really struggling with that. And I went into the archives, the messages from people, and so many people sent me messages about, unpacking boxes, understanding trauma, things like that. One woman wrote me the most beautiful message. I might share it later because it was such an important, impactful message. Oh, my hair is ooh, Lord, child. Okay, so anyway, I wanted to address, one woman wrote that her 11-year-old daughter, now 12, came to her and said, I think I'm bisexual. And the mom said to me, my daughter, the mother actually said something really smart in the message. She said, I know that how I respond will go down on my permanent record as a parent. I cannot tell you how significant that understanding is, because when I told my mother in 4th grade that I was bisexual, or that I didn't say that because I didn't even know what that word was. See, kids are much more aware these days, right? But in the 80s, from now on, I'm blocking anybody who tells me not to touch my face. I'm in my home with clean hands. Stop telling me not to touch my face. It gives me fucking anxiety. I'm going to ask you for the last time. Please stop telling me not to touch my face in my own home with clean hands. If I was at a park right now, touching slides and fucking swings and picking my nose and shit, I could see it, but no, I'm in my home with clean hands. Leave me alone. So anyway, when I told my mother that I was attracted to women or girls, I was in 4th grade. I said to my mom, I think that I like, I feel something for girls. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know, I knew it wasn't the norm, right? Like I knew that me liking girls or being attracted to girls felt different. I knew that, but I didn't know that it was wrong or right, or if people agreed with it or didn't. Keep in mind, I was not raised Christian. I was not raised Catholic. I was raised Jewish. And, so I didn't have that like, Jesus is disappointed thing. And my mother, to her credit, on her permanent record, said, okay. As if I had said to her, Mom, I lost my shoe. I think she would have been more mad if I lost my shoe. Okay? She just, now you guys are freaking me out. She just didn't have like a reaction in either direction that made me feel anything. It literally was like, Mom, I'm attracted to girls. And she was like, okay. Literally, love you, Sandy. Literally, it was like, okay. So I was like, okay. I have always been attracted to women for as long as I can remember. I am also obviously attracted to men, right? There's no question about that. But I have always been attracted to women. I have a very specific type. I only like one or two kinds of women. It's a different thing than I feel for men, but it's real and it's significant. And I have been in relationships with women and it doesn't feel weird. See, now that's a lie. I can't say it doesn't feel weird for me. It's not weird. It feels intentional, if that makes sense. It feels intentional. When I'm with a man, it just feels like whatever, When I'm with a woman, it feels intentional. That's the only way I can describe it to you. So for anybody who may have a child or has a child or may have a child or a sibling or a parent or a whatever who comes to them and says, first of all, anytime someone comes to you and says, I think I'm gay, they fucking know they're gay. They're afraid of your reaction. So they say think in efforts so that you don't, so maybe they can backpedal if they have to. If anybody comes to you and says, I think I'm gay or I think I'm bisexual, they know they are. There's no question. They just don't know how you're going to react. Okay? So let's talk about first the people who don't get it. Right? My mother. She doesn't get it. She's not attracted to women. She can see a woman and go, oh, that's a beautiful woman. But she's not attracted to them. She doesn't want to kiss them. Okay? So she doesn't get it, but she has no issue with it. None whatsoever. She's like, if you want to make out with women, honey, go right ahead. She always felt that way. Susan was very open-minded when it came to me liking women. She just didn't care. She just didn't think that was something to like, she had bigger fish to fry with me. It was not my sexuality, right? So let's talk to the people who don't understand it, but are not against it. That's the first group of people I want to talk to. So moms, dads, sisters, whatever, you don't understand homosexuality. You don't understand bisexuality. You can't get there in your mind. You're just not attracted to the same sex. It just doesn't, you don't care. You're not against it. You don't have like some religious affliction against it. You don't like, you're not like staunch, like I'm against it. You just don't get it. Okay. So let me talk to you about this. Have you ever met someone who doesn't like chocolate? Typically, when someone says, I don't like chocolate, the whole world goes, you don't like chocolate? And the person who doesn't like chocolate goes, no, I don't like it. It doesn't taste good in my mouth. I don't get what you guys get. I don't get it, right? It's the same kind of thing, right? You're the person in the conversation who doesn't like chocolate. I don't get it. I don't like chocolate, right? We as a society have made such a big deal about sexuality that young people believe that their own parents won't love them anymore if they are honest about their sexuality. Okay? Now, like, short of my kids being Jeffrey Dahmer, I can't imagine not loving them. I just can't, right? So if you don't understand it, if you don't understand sexuality, homosexuality, bisexuality, but you're not against it, take the time to read things about it. Take the time to watch documentaries or movies and try to get an understanding, or message me and I'll tell you, right? Because if you're not against it, the number one thing you want to say to your child is, I love you. This changes nothing. I don't understand necessarily why you are attracted to the same sex. Just like I wouldn't understand someone who didn't like chocolate, because like I just don't get it. But I'm not angry. I'm not against it. I don't think I'm like, nothing about this is problematic for you and I, right? Nothing about it is problematic. So the number one thing you want to say to your child is, this changes nothing. This would just be like me if you told me you wanted to join like an Indian reservation, or you wanted to go volunteer for Greenpeace, or you just didn't like chocolate. These are things I don't necessarily have a good understanding about, and so I want to understand them, but there's not a problem here. That's how you deal with that. If you have no judgment, if you are not angry, you say, I am not angry. I have no judgment. I love you unconditionally. This is not problematic for us, honey. I just don't understand. I don't get it. Like, I'm a woman, I'm your mom. I see women, I think they're beautiful, but I don't want to kiss them. So I just don't get it. So I'm going to try to get it. I may never have a full understanding of it because I'd probably never want to kiss a woman, but I love you and this is not problematic for me. Great. There you go. Now, what about if you are the person who is against it? Homosexuality is wrong in your eyes. It is morally wrong. God is angry, not in your house. I can't accept this. If you are that person, well, that sounded judgy. I don't mean it judgy. I'm sorry, I take back all of this weird thing I just did. If you are someone who is conflicted morally, if you believe that God made Adam and Eve and it's supposed to be a man and a woman, and you can't support homosexuality, you have a right to set boundaries. Jennifer Franco said, why even suggest that it's problematic? Because it's not in your house with you. This part of the conversation is not for you. There are about 400 people watching who it is problematic for, and they are struggling, and they don't know how to deal with it, because they are against it and they don't believe in it. And their God, in their mind, truly, and in their belief, is against it. So for you, it's not problematic. And for me, it's not problematic. But for many, it is. And they still want to. Now, there are people who it's so problematic for them, they're cutting you off. I don't care if you're my son or daughter. If you're gay, you're out. Okay, well, I can't fucking help y'all. You pick one sin over the next. Because I can assure you, God doesn't want you to put your kids out. That's a fucking sin. And God himself said, no one sin is greater than the next. So if you think homosexuality is a bigger sin than disowning your own child, I'm here to tell you, you're fucking dead ass wrong. Period. You're wrong on that. But let's talk to the people who are against it, but don't want to turn their backs on their children, but they are truly against it. Against it. Do they have a right to boundaries? They absolutely do. And we as a society and as individuals have such a need for validation that it's like we can't be happy unless somebody validates our life choices. Well, guess what? Gay people, bisexual people, LGBTQ, whatever, you may not get the validation that you want from certain people in your life. The best they are able to do is hear you say you're gay or bisexual or trans or whatever and say, I never want to talk about it again. Don't bring it in my house. Don't bring me home anybody. I don't want to talk about it. That may be their boundary. You cannot force validation on someone who is not capable of giving it to you. But they're my mother. Doesn't matter. But that's my father. Doesn't matter. If they are saying to you, I love you, but I don't ever want to talk about this again. Don't talk about it in my home and don't bring me home a lover of the same sex. That is my boundary. Then you have to know that whatever validation you try to force at that point is about you, not about them. You don't really want acceptance. That's not what you want. You want validation. And you're not going to get it from someone who is against your choices. It would be like you coming home, me going to my mom and saying, I want to live in an open marriage. My mom would be like, no, what? Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to have girlfriends and boyfriends and fucking everybody outside my marriage. My mom would be like, I don't want to hear that. Do not bring that into my home. Okay? I will not validate that for you because I don't agree with it. Doesn't make her a bigot. Doesn't make her a whatever. It just says, these are my boundaries and I'm not going to be okay with you crossing them. Jamie, are you LGBTQ? Oh, yes, I am. Very much so. Very much so. I was lucky. My mother didn't have a problem with it. My siblings don't have a problem with it. My husband doesn't have a problem with it. My children have a problem with it. So that's their boundary. Hard and fast. They do not want to. Olivia does not want to talk about it. And so I respect it. I don't need validation from Olivia. I am fine with my life choices. How do you live without validation? You fucking live. You fucking live. What are you going to do? Make yourself sick? Make yourself crazy? Nancy, great point. It's the same thing with politics. We so badly need the people in our lives to validate our choices, our beliefs, our whatever. No, it's okay to share and say, listen, this is who I am. I am gay. I am against Trump. I am for Reagan. I am an Obama person. I am bisexual. And the person that you are talking to can say, here is my boundary. I don't want to talk about that. I've heard you. I hear you. And that's it. I don't want to talk about it again. Well, then they're not supporting me. That's not true. That's not true. They love you and they're going to do the best they can with the information you've given them. And now you just have to live your life while continuing to respect their boundary. Now, someone said, why did I have to discuss it with my children? I'll tell you why. Because when we were in the car and my children brought up Ellen DeGeneres, Olivia pointed out that Ellen DeGeneres had a wife, to which everyone in my car said, ooh, "Ooh, that's weird." And I said, "That is not weird." And they said, "You don't think it's weird?" Now there was my teachable moment. They wanted to see what mom felt, how mom felt. And I said, "No, I don't think it's weird. I think that Ellen loves her wife very much, and she's married, and she's faithful, and she loves her wife, and they've built a beautiful life." And then my children said, would you ever like a woman?" And I'm not ashamed of my feelings. And I said, "Yes, I have liked women, as a matter of fact. And I had a girlfriend at one time. And my children's boundaries were clearly fucking identified in that second. Boom, Olivia, I never want to talk about this again." Great. I will never bring it up to you again. You understand that mommy does not think it's wrong. Mommy has no issue with it for you, for me, or for anyone else. But we never have to talk about it again. And I've never brought it up again, and I never will. Because my children set boundaries, and I respect them. Everybody wants to know how Father Bob feels. Father Bob loves me. He absolutely loves me. That is how Father Bob feels. How does that jive with their Catholic school? I don't know what that question means. I don't know what you're asking me. So perhaps as my children get older and they have friends who are gay or bisexual or whatever, they may open the conversation back up to me. They may have questions. They may even feel things in their own. Tiffany, what was your opinion? You absolutely have a right to your own opinion. I didn't get to see what it was. I'd love to know what it was. If my children ever bring it up to me again, then we'll talk about it. But I will never bring it up to them again because I respect boundaries and I don't have to force validation on people. Truth be told, I don't think my kids want to know I dated anybody before their father. I don't really think it's even that. I mean, I do think, I think she was asking if people in the school community know. It's not their business. Oh, I know they are your children, but traditional Catholics are not typically supportive. I think you're right about that. I think traditional Catholics are certainly more conservative, absolutely. But I think that people in my community know me and kind of know that I'm out there and like, I don't think it surprises them. Listen, it's not choices they would make in their own life. But believe it or not, I've had a few parents from the community who have told me they also had relationships with women. And I think they felt safe to tell me that because I was so honest about mine. But at the end of the day, the purpose of this conversation is simply to just say on both sides, it is okay to say, I hear what you're saying. I don't agree with it. I'm not going to eliminate you from my life. But I don't ever want to talk about this again. And when you are the gay, LGBTQ, bisexual, Republican, Democrat, Yankee fan over Met fan, whatever it is that goes against the people you are talking to, you don't have a right. Whatever need you have to push it, to push the validation, you're going to see me. You're going to validate me. No. That's a fucking you thing. That's a you thing. If someone says to you, I hear you, and that's your business, but this is my boundary, you got to respect that. You have to respect that. How long has it been since you was with a woman? Well, Joe, I was dating a woman at the same time I was dating Michael. So, I don't know, 15 years? 15, I guess. And listen, this is not a coffee talk to try to convince people to agree with homosexuality or LGBTQ or to go against it or be for it or whatever. What I'm saying is, yes, there will be people who just cut you out of their life. I can't speak to those people. I don't even get those people. Was Michael okay with it? Yes, Michael was fine with it. I'm saying that boundaries work both ways. And someone saying to you, I don't agree with your lifestyle, but I still want you in my life, I just don't ever want to talk about it again, is a version of acceptance for them. That's their boundary. And I've learned that when someone says, stop, I don't want to talk about it again, I go, okay, got it. But doesn't that mean they can never share a family occasion with their family, Christmas, Thanksgiving, weddings, etc.? You know, sometimes it does mean that. Is it fair? No. But if it's your mother's boundary and she says, I hear you and you're gay and I'm fine with that. I'm fine enough that, okay, I'm not going to cut you out of my life, but I don't want to see it. Then you've got to start to build your own memories and your own holidays and your own life. I mean, what can you do? When I first started dating people outside my race, my mother had a harder time with that. The first time I dated a black man, my mom was like, okay, now I don't fucking get this. She wasn't like, you can't do it, but she was like, I don't get this. This is too much for me now. Women and black people and like, you're the fucking League of Nations. Okay? She came around, but in the beginning, she was like, no, not in my house. Jamie. You know, my first real boyfriend was Chinese. My mom was like, I don't get it. You're Italian. Can't you just find a nice Italian boy or even a Jewish boy? Like, why with the Chinese? You know, it was 1992. She was raised by parents who came from Italy. She knows now, like I said, she came around, but she had more issue with that. And you know what? That was her boundary. Well, what was I going to do? Fucking burn the house down? Force him on her? Like, you're going to see me with this person? Like, what are you going to do? So I said to her, okay. So what happened was I was never home. I was always with him out at his house, doing things out. And you know what? She finally said, this sucks. I miss you. Come home. Bring him here. We'll figure it out. And you know what? We did. And she did. And we did. And it all worked out fine. And somehow I literally ended up with the whitest fucking white man of all white men of all time. It's the way the world works. I don't know. So what are you going to do? Listen, at the end of the day, you just do the best you can. You just do the best you can. You try to live the most honest life you can live. And you respect people's boundaries. And you do it in a way that works for both sides. You know, marginalized communities like mine, like LGBTQ, a lot of times we want to be heard because we've been silenced for so long. And it is exhausting being silenced. But at the same time, you gotta respect people's boundaries. You just have to, you know? You just have to. And also, yeah, amen, Crystal, choose your battles. Like, my mom had so many battles with me The fact that I liked women was just not one she was going to win. I just love everybody. That's my problem. I'll sleep with you if you're white, if you're black, if you're Chinese, if you're a woman or a man. I don't give a shit. My shop is open, folks, even during quarantine. Just send me a DM and a picture and I'll let you know if I'm interested. That was a joke, obviously. Please don't slide into my DMs. I don't want any of your naked pictures, okay? All right, I love you guys very much. For those of you who are brave enough to share this coffee talk, I think it's important. I think it's important for people who are trying to figure it out. I think there are a lot of conversations happening now. And I think this is really interesting. Christy says, my son is a drag queen and openly gay. My husband has a hard time seeing him in drag. My son gets so hurt, but the boundary thing is spot on. That's the thing. It's like your father has heard your preference and he loves you and he's okay with it. Now you have to respect his boundaries, because what you're seeking now is not acceptance, it's validation. And validation gotta come from inside. It's got to come from inside. Your father's already given you acceptance. He's already said, I love you, son. I know you're gay. I know you're a drag queen. I'm happy for you, but here's my boundary. And now you pushing it means you want his validation. And that's just not fair. It's just not fair. And I know people from my community are going to be like, oh, you're not an ally. You're not LGBTQ. No, I am. I just don't believe that people should be forced to eat what we serve because we want to make sure they like it. They don't have to like it. You have to like it. If you like what you're serving, you serve. But not everybody has to like it. They can accept that you're cooking and what you're cooking, but they don't have to fucking eat it. Me as a bisexual had to get over myself real quick because I was like, I'm bisexual. You didn't hear me. I'm not getting the reaction I wanted to get. You know what people in my life were like? Well, fuck you, Jamie. Fuck you. This is what you're getting. Okay. All right. I got to go, my kids. I can't talk about it anymore. Okay. I love you all very much. Have a great, great day.